InpharmD combines pharmacists' intelligence with artificial intelligence to provide you custom, evidence-based responses to your clinical questions. Ask any question, anytime, from anywhere. On Android, iPhone, Epic, and soon, contactless with Siri and Alexa. On behalf of all of us here at InpharmD, whether you're watching this from your home or on the front lines, we hope you're well and we thank you for the important work you're doing. With this webinar, we hope to first outline the published evidence behind the 8 antiviral agents being used to battle COVID-19. And after that, we'll get to the 9 adjunctive agents being considered. You're busier than ever, so we'll be efficient. There's a link to download the PDF of this underneath. So relax. You can listen without feeling like you need to catch everything or take screenshots. And before we get started, a quick disclaimer. New evidence is emerging all the time, so there's a chance that when you're watching this, parts of it could be dated. Also, any opinions we share are our opinions of the clinical data, and none of this is meant as medical advice. The first antiviral we'll cover is remdesivir, an investigational adenosine analog to fight the virus directly via RNA. We can see some theoretical benefit in preclinical data, and trials are being conducted now. It's reasonable to consider enrolling our sickest in these trials. It's recommended to be used with caution. The second antiviral is chloroquine, which blocks viral replication by affecting pH. Clinical trials are underway, but nothing is known yet. Scores of medications show in vitro activity that doesn't translate to clinical effectiveness. We'll need to see if this does, and we just don't know yet. It's recommended to be used with caution. The third antiviral is hydroxychloroquine, which differs from chloroquine by a single hydroxyl group, which should make it safer. As such, it's included in some treatment guidelines as an option in the absence of other options. It's recommended to be used with caution. The fourth antiviral is interferon alpha, which inhibits virus replication in a few ways. It requires nebulization with a potential risk of viral exposure, however, and the equipment needed for proper, non-transmissible nebulization is unknown. It's not recommended. The fifth antiviral is IVIG, which fights the virus directly with antibodies. A shortage has been an ongoing issue over the past few months, and it's not recommended as initial therapy, though it could be considered after 5 days. The sixth antiviral is ribavirin, a synthetic nucleoside analog to fight the virus directly via RNA. There's data to suggest limited benefit, and its use is not recommended. The seventh and final antiviral is lopinavir-ritonavir, an HIV protease inhibitor with some limited data in COVID, though its efficacy is still in doubt and not definitely established. We'll need more data to confirm that it's useful early on and in combination with other antivirals. It's recommended to be used with caution. The eighth and final antiviral is Convalescent Plasma, taken from recovered patients, which may contain antibodies to COVID. We don't see any risk, but we don't know if it actually works either. It's recommended to be used with caution. Now we'll switch to adjunctive agents. The first we'll cover is azithromycin, an antibiotic, but with immune-modulating and anti-inflammatory effects. There's very limited clinical trial data, and that data should be viewed cautiously due to significant limitations in the study design and small sample size. Its use is not recommended. The second is corticosteroids, which can blunt the inflammatory response that leads to respiratory failure. Observational data suggest it can be used with caution in patients with underlying medical conditions, in which corticosteroids may be considered anyway. The third is baricitinib, which works on enzymes usually in arthritis patients, but predicted to work the same for COVID patients. However, no clinical data exists, so this agent should be avoided unless the patient is being enrolled in a clinical trial, and to date, none are enrolling in the US. The fourth is tocilizumab, which is proposed to work on cytokines that promote the inflammatory response. There is limited clinical data that should be interpreted with caution due to limitations in study design and small sample size. Clinical trials are ongoing, though to date, none are enrolling in the US. The fifth is sarilumab, which works the same way as tocilizumab, but with no clinical data to support its use in COVID patients. This agent should therefore be avoided unless a patient is participating in a clinical trial, and one is enrolling now. The sixth is ACE inhibitors or ARBs, which have properties that may reduce lung inflammation. On the other hand, a case can be made for avoidance, since angiotensin-converting enzyme 2, ACE2, receptors have been shown to be COVID's entry point, and ACE2 expression is increased in people taking ACE inhibitors or ARBs. Given no available clinical data, initiation or discontinuation is recommended against. The seventh is ibuprofen, which works against COVID symptoms of fever, headache, myalgia, and arthralgia. There's no compelling evidence to show it makes things worse, and the FDA backed this up with a statement on March 1, 2020, that it can be used. The eighth is statins, which may support immunity in viral respiratory infections, along with the additional cardiovascular benefits that we're aware of. Given no available clinical data, it's recommended not to initiate treatment in anyone that doesn't have an underlying condition that warrants it. And the ninth and final agent is ascorbic acid or vitamin C, which may support our defense against any infection and oxidative stress. There's no data to support its use in COVID, and its routine use is recommended against. We appreciate you joining. If you want the PDF version of this webinar to keep as a reference, just click this link. We wish you all the best in these coming weeks. If you have any questions, or if we can be helpful in any other way, please email us at support@InpharmD.com. Thank you.